My name is Anthony Codaspoti. I am founder of Eat Green Tea, and this video plug is entitled Second Big Surprise at Iguazu Falls. Iguazu is how it looks, Iguazu Falls. In my last post, I shared some experiences from my recent honeymoon, and I talked about one of two reasons why I really loved Iguazu Falls, Argentina. And the first reason was the absolutely breathtaking waterfalls. But I wanted to talk about the second reason why I had such a great time in Iguazu Falls. And it's because I learned about something that was almost completely new to me. And I say almost because I had heard of it before, but didn't really know anything about it. And having been on this earth for some 38 years and having traveled to a variety of different places, I sometimes get lulled into this false perception that I've seen and done almost everything out there. And I have to remind myself that this is a completely oversimplified and somewhat arrogant viewpoint, especially because I still have a pretty substantial bucket list of my own. And really all this is to say that when I do discover something new, I get really excited, just like a little kid sort of exploring the world for the first time. But before I get to that, the big new thing that I discovered in Iguazu Falls, I wanted to share the little new thing that I discovered there. See, we had just arrived at the national park and we're starting down one of the trails when we saw them. A family of them, actually. I'd never seen anything like these creatures before, not even on National Geographic. They kind of look like the result of a possum and a raccoon getting together and having babies. And we'll cut into video of our first experience coming across these guys. Hey dude, what's your name? You look too much like a possum for me to like you. These things are everywhere. They almost look like mini anteaters. It's like a
long tails.
I don't know, like a raccoon and a possum got together. Okay, so that was pretty cool. I mean, how often do you just go for a hike and find a new species? A new species to us, at least. But what I really wanted to tell you about was a discovery that we made a few hours earlier on that same day. Kayla and I were in our hotel lobby waiting to be picked up for a morning tour. And while we were sitting there, I saw the woman working at the front desk sip from this enormous metal-looking straw device. And the straw was set inside of an oddly shaped cup. And inside the cup was a heaping pile of what looked like green pipe tobacco, at least from a distance. And as if all that wasn't strange enough, she then passed the cup to the manager who was working with her, who also took a sip from the giant straw. Then he passed back to her, and she had some, and so on. Now, I'm no germaphobe, but I think it's a little bit odd for grown adults to be sharing a drink back and forth like that, especially two people who just work together. They aren't like a couple or anything. So this just made me even more curious, and so I had to find out what this was all about. And I went up and I asked them a bunch of questions, and their English was pretty good. My Spanish is awful, almost non-existent. But we were able to sort of understand each other, and it took a while before I figured out what they were drinking is called Yerba Mate. They pronounced their Y's differently, and so my ears just, it kind of took several times of asking before I was able to kind of put together. And so, okay, it's Yerba Mate. Okay, tell me more about this. I've heard of it, but I don't really know about it. And what I learned is that it has some similarities and properties that are similar to green tea, but it actually comes from a completely separate plant. In fact, it's actually, they call it a shrub when it's first growing, and it actually turns into a tree that these leaves come from. And the trees can only be grown in certain parts of the world. The region of Argentina that we were in happens to be one of them. The leaves are harvested and dried in a similar manner to green tea, but the ritual of consuming the brew is actually pretty different. See, that cup itself is called a mate, pronounced spelled M-A-T-E, pronounced mate. And traditionally, it was made from a dried out gourd. Nowadays, you can still get them in the traditional gourd, but you can get them made out of all kinds of other materials. But many of them still take on that familiar gourd shape. And when you make the brew, it looks somewhat similar to green tea. It's a little bit more yellowish than what I think green tea is. And what they do is they fill up the mate, they fill up this cup, this gourd, about 3/4 of the way with the yerba mate, with the ground up leaves, and then hot water is added on top of it to create a brew. And they do this throughout the day. They pour hot water, they sip from it, when it's done, they pour more hot water, so they've got a thermos of hot water that they carry with them. And the tea is consumed through something called a bombilla. It's that metal straw that I was describing before. And it's got a filter at the bottom of it to help keep the leaves out as you're sucking up the fluid, as you're sucking up the tea. And it's very much a social kind of a thing, almost like passing around a joint, or so I've heard. But whoever's preparing it, they prepare it, they take a sip, and they pass it around the circle, and it comes back around, and then it goes back around again. And once I learned about it at our hotel, we noticed people all over town doing this. And as we traveled to Buenos Aires, it wasn't quite as common to see people there doing it, maybe because we were kind of more in a city setting, but this is something that is very common. And for a lot of people in Argentina, I think parts of Brazil, and I think somebody told me that it's either Uruguay or Paraguay is actually like the biggest consumer per capita of yerba mate in the world. But for a lot of these folks, it will replace consumption of like regular tea or coffee. It does have naturally occurring amounts of caffeine, as green tea does, and it has its own high levels of antioxidants. So I had the opportunity to try the yerba mate to see what its flavor was like and the smell. And from the smell of it, I thought I would really like it because it had kind of a toasted, roasted kind of a aroma to it, and I really like those flavors in food a lot. But when I actually had the chance to drink the brew, I didn't really care for the flavor. So I tried it. It's not something for me. And of course, I tried eating it as well. I'm the eat green tea guy, so I had to see what that was like. And so we put it in our morning smoothies a few times, and I liked it. But it imparts more of a flavor into the smoothie itself, and I didn't really care for that either. But it was really cool to sort of discover something completely new to me. Makes me feel like a little kid.